so I took a little bit of time to clean out the chip pans, and I've got the new compound base set up here. It's locked down. The only thing that's missing is this section here, which is a register for this base here. So I got it lined up. Because I put the multiple marks in here and here, I've marked that one to 45 and this one here to 45, so it should be dead on in the center for what we need it to do here. And now I just need to get it parted off. I have the parting blade stuck out. Hopefully this works a little bit better than trying to turn that 4-inch section, because that was frustrating. So I got everything locked down here as tight as I can get it, and we're gonna see what she does. It's 189 RPM. Let me grab my cutting fluid. Take my little needle oiler here. Actually, let's get my feet set up a little bit better here. Okay. I ran this piece out, but I don't think I went far enough with it, so there's just a little bit of a nipple. Ooh, that's hot. Ah, there we go. Bang my camera all around. Well, that thing wasn't cutting anywhere near straight. Let's see if I can get the camera turned so you can see here. I don't know how well you can see it, but if I just come straight out and even, I'm a pretty good distance away from the top there. It's like cone shaped. So I think that's it for the forejaw. I'm going to take it off, switch it out with the collet chuck so that I can grip the threads and then turn this flat. I also need to take the tool post off real quick and double check my measurements before I turn it so I don't go too small in it. You bastards there. Alright. That should. Alright, so I've got this piece turned flat and it's measuring just over a quarter of an inch. It's 252 there. That's under. I couldn't get this thing in here straight. That's 253, and then 254. So it should be fine. The recess is 276, I think is what it was. So all I'm going to do is just hit this with a file real quick, and it'll be done, ready to go together. This piece will just thread in to lock the post in, and it'll rotate on this to keep it centered. Alright, the post is in here. I haven't locked it down all the way. I'm planning on putting some Loctite on it when I do, but I just wanted to double check and make sure that it sits flat and it is not sitting flat on there. Something's catching here. Make sure there's no chips anywhere. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. So when I measured this recess here, I measured the outside, and I shouldn't have, because it's convexed out. So the middle is taller or less distance than the outside edge. So I got a little bit more cleaning up to do on the stud before it'll fit the compound on top of it. I have my compound set at about 20 degrees, so I'm just going to make a couple passes to open up this middle section. Let's get it right up here in the middle. I have a different bit in here. The other one was not cutting right. And I also have this set up at a little bit different angle. I set it to about 10 degrees because 20 I think was going to be too steep. So we'll see how this one cuts. That should be, cross my fingers, good. Okay, I think we're good. What's going on here? Alright, so I got everything done. This was a kind of a pain in the butt. The first set of holes I started to drill, I got off a little bit, so I stopped. Then I drilled, I don't remember which ones are which, but I scored a line straight across the middle and then marked using the base here. Just set it on top and spun it around with a transfer punch, and then I drilled the holes and tapped it. Well, the problem is these holes aren't centered on this circle, so I ended up having to pull it off, marked one, drilled it, tapped it, tightened it down, used the transfer punch on the other side to punch the other mark. But this piece is finished and this piece is finished. It goes in. I think you guys can see that. It's got very little amount of play in there, so it registers real good. It almost has a vacuum when you try to pull it out. So this piece threads on here. Stick this one on the back side. I think it's the right spot. And that, I just barely went finger tight, and I mean it's tighter than it's not right there. The rotation, it lets me go to about 20 degrees this way, and then almost, I think it's about 70 degrees back. So I've got everything I need, and if I need to switch the angle up, I could just rotate this around and line up these two spots here, and then I can get more angles that way, or I can line it up this way and get different angles this way. the piece slides in here really nicely. I mean, there's no wiggle. So the scale on the side of it here, I've got the lines that I machined in here. So no matter which way I take it off, I can take it off, flip it around, and change the angles again that way. I was kind of thinking about it after I did it that I wish I would have put these holes the same distance out as they are apart this way, so that I could flip this however I wanted. The only downside to doing that is I wouldn't have been able to shift this over to the side like I did. The only other thing that I really plan on doing to the base here is I'm going to throw it back up in the mill, and then I'm going to chamfer these edges, because these corners are really stinking sharp, and when you're over here spinning the dial, it gets real tight in there. So I'm going to relieve those corners, put a nice good chamfer on it, and then I'm actually thinking about taping this, put the compound on it, and then cut out the circle, and then sandblast and paint this surface. And then I'll be able to, I can paint it black, and I could drop some white paint into the grooves here, and that'll make it stand out really clearly. That way it'll still sit flush onto steel on steel, and both are cast to steel, and both surfaces are really like almost dead nuts flat. So I won't have any problems there. But this, I don't know if it's coming out on camera or not, but you can see a couple spots here. This thing rusts up real quick. So I put a coat of oil on it before I had my shoulder surgery, and it worked pretty well. But there's just a couple little spots here and there that it still rusted up. So I kind of want to get rid of those. And then these holes here. When I was at the summer bash, I was telling Aaron Garney about the steel stick putty stuff that I use. And he said I should probably throw that in a video because he's never heard of it, and other people might want to hear about it too. But it's just a two-part epoxy. You mix the two together. Let's see if I got some right here. So this is what it looks like here. The center's different color. You just cut off however much you need, mix it, and you got about 5 minutes of time to work with it before it hardens up. And what I do is I'll put it in, then I'll take a flat scraper when it starts to dry, and just really lightly go over the top of it until it's flush. And then when I paint it, you won't even know these holes were ever even here. Another way you can do it is to leave it bulged over the top a little bit, and then just sand it down once it's completely solid. But that steel stick stuff, you can actually drill it and tap it and machine it. It's some pretty tough stuff once it fully hardens. And then of course I've got my T-nuts in here. So this thing is held down by 4 T-nuts. Now the one thing that I forgot to do, that I said I was going to do, was I was going to relieve the bottom of this right in the middle for this stupid oil port here. And the more I thought about it, the more I decided not to do that. I could limit myself to there, and if I ever have to come all the way out, I'm probably going to be turning something that's too big to handle on this lathe anyways, so I wouldn't even bother moving this thing any further out. So I'm going to get the holes done, and the chamfer. Well, I got to do the chamfer first, and then I'll do the holes and all that stuff, but I think I'm going to do that, the painting stuff on its own separate video, just to highlight that steel stick stuff. But this is it. It's done. I know these videos kind of seem to run on and on and on. At least they did to me. It really sucked having my shoulder surgery right when I did, because I was right in the middle of doing this. I barely finished to get this clamped down. I made a break, and I had my shoulder surgery literally the next day. So I went right up until the last second I could, and that part's done. Now, something I am going to be doing soon is I'm going to get rid of this gib system that it has here. This is the dovetail width right here. This is the width of that stupid gib that's in there. So I'm going to put 2 more holes, drill them and tap them. I'm going to get rid of this stupid locking point here, and I'm going to put Allen set screws, and I'm going to make a new gib up for this. And then when I do that, I think what I'll do is when I have this apart, I'll lap the dovetails together so that the surfaces are nice and precise, and takes out. Basically, I'm just trying to get rid of any wiggle room. And this piece is like the last part of the weak design that's left. And I think that if I put a gib screw here and put 1 or 2 more, I think in 1 more probably work fine. That would give me 4 gib screws all the way across, and that'll be, I can't imagine needing more than that for anything. That should hold it plenty tight enough. But like this, just having two screws there, I think this is still flexing or moving, and it's not holding tight, and that's where a lot of my surface finish problems are coming from. So future videos to come, other little projects I want to get done. I hope you guys enjoyed this project. It was fun. I felt a little rushed, like I said, because I had my shoulder surgery coming up, but I think it turned out all right. I think it'll look even better once it's painted black and these lines are inlaid with white. I think it'll look really, really nice like that. And then I don't have to worry about it rusting up all the dang time.